All right. Hey, welcome back to the Go for CEO channel. This is your guy, John the Bomb. Building others means business. And super excited. These welcome back interviews, these reconnect interviews, these chat again interviews is so exciting because we really get to see the person that I interviewed initially, that CEO, that founder, that entrepreneur or entrepreneur. And in this case, an incredible lady that is just doing some dynamic things. You're going to be excited right now because there's like 4 or 5 different things that she just dropped bombs on me and sharing the things that she's doing. I mean, she's already, built an incredible family. I think it's 5 kids, right? If I'm not mistaken. Uh, so married, 5 kids, business owner, author, she just dropped. She's getting her doctorate degree. I mean, like, this lady's just going next stratosphere. So stay tuned, subscribe to the channel, and become a Go for CEO, subscriber and follow Amy in the story. Our first one was about her company called Balance Wellness Connection, that is a mental health business, and she's really just been booming that. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and some of the growth and other things that she does. So, Amy, welcome back to the Go for CEO channel.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Awesome, awesome. Well, hey, look, I've been looking forward to this. I know your husband and I do some business offline, and helping him grow his business of the CFO side, and some of the things that I do in the business lending world. So it's exciting to kind of stay connected. He always drops hints of things that you guys are doing, or where you're traveling to, or the shows that you do on the fitness side of things. So why don't you
Mm.
let the Go for CEO community know kind of a catch up of what's going on, since we last talked, and then obviously the direction that you want to take us today.
Yeah, so I think that the last time we talked, I was working. I still hadn't had the book launch, so we launched the book in December. It was at this amazing venue in Naperville called Go Brewing, and Go Brewing is really cool because it's a non-alcoholic beer maker. And so part of my story that I always share, and part of the book is that my husband and I don't drink, mostly just because of a lifestyle um, change. You can't really drink when you're a bodybuilder. So it was really great to go brewing and support that and have that amazing event. The owner, Joe, is really into fitness as well. He's a triathlete, and then he has yoga events there, and Wim Hof stuff, which is jumping in frozen lakes and breathing and all that. And so his venue is really focused on wellness. So it was a really good fit. So that's new. What else? I started my doctoral program. I'm going to a local university here called Judson. Matt and I were very involved in Judson to begin with. We work with the World Leaders Forum. And so, he was a graduate from there. We're involved with world leaders. We also do this thing that's a volunteer organization called Administer Justice. And Minister Justice is very connected to Judson. So it just seemed like a natural extension of what I wanted to do. I've always wanted to get a doctorate. I have a desire to plug in at the university level and do more working with graduate students. Currently, I have interns at Balance Wellness Collective. We call them practicum interns, which means they're in their second or third year of their graduate program. They're ready for their internship. And so I train them basically on how to be therapists. So that's
Nice.
some of the big updates. Yeah.
Love it. Well, that's a mouthful, right? And you still have 5 kids, and being an incredible wife that you are, and a leader in your family. So tell let's dive into the book, because I'm working on a book. I've shared this on the Go for CEO community, that it's kind of the download of the things that I've been able to achieve. And I think everybody has a book in them, as they say. What led you to the book? What's kind of the major theme behind it, and how are you using a book so that people can learn? Is it a calling card? Is it an in to speak in the future? Those types of things.
Yeah. So out of the one book that I started writing, birthed 3 books. So now I actually have 3. My publisher and I put out a book while I was writing the larger one. So the first book is called Make Mental Gains, and it's just kind of an easy flip through. It's beautiful. It's kind of the square sized coffee table book. And I've even had people say that they've read it to their kids. And it's really about, mentality and mindset and lifestyle and some lifestyle practices, some very like practical things that you can do to get organized, feel more empowered, be more successful. Uh, Matt and I like to say, live your best life. So it's really, again, kind of concrete tips and tricks to be able to maximize your life. So that's the first one. And then out of, like I said, while I was writing the larger one, which is called Ascension Mentality, Ascension Mentality is more of a memoir. So, I do kind of a lot of things, as you mentioned. I'm also a competitive bodybuilder. Um, I was on a national stage last year and currently I'm sixth place um, at nationals. So a lot of people have just asked me over time, like, how do you do all the things you do? Like you mentioned, we have 5 kids, I have these businesses. Now I'm getting a doctorate, I'm a bodybuilder. And so it's just kind of my story, really about like kind of the struggles that I went through as a child and early adult. Um, it was about my first marriage. It's about, working. I've worked since as long as I can remember, kind of since like 14 years old. Had a single mom, so it's kind of a story about growth and your ability to overcome obstacles. And so instead of just trying to explain how I do all that I do, I decided to write this memoir and really open the door of vulnerability and like let everyone in. And it's an interesting experience because I still actively see lots of clients. I see them on a local level. I have a license in Illinois. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. And then I also see people worldwide on a coaching capacity. And my clients are reading it, which is, again, interesting from the therapeutic perspective, because now they know everything, right? The good, the bad, the ugly. And when I set out to write it, it was really my goal to be completely transparent. I'm like, I'm not going to write this if I can't be honest and truthful, because we are all human and we all go through stuff. And I wanted to kind of take that almost out of my professional life. In therapy, the old Freudian image is the patient lying on that fainting couch and the therapist kind of sitting behind, all powerful. And I wanted to just kind of crush that dynamic and just say, like, everybody goes through things, and here's my story, and here's how I got from where I was to where I am now.
That's interesting, right? And look, the exposure to other people knowing everything, right, is certainly a vulnerable state to be in, but it's also freeing, I would imagine, right? Is there's I think your closest friends, your closest family members, the ones that you truly, your partner, hopefully, you can have that vulnerability, and there's a lot of freedom in it. There's some things that I've recently gone through, and there's vulnerability and stuff, and it's interesting to kind of hear your perspective on it. So I'm looking forward to Go for CEO community. Take those books. And where are the books available? Let's give the website.
Yeah.
Let's do a shameless plug here. So
Sure, you can get them on Amazon.com. And there's a link from my website directly to the books, www.amywilhelmy.com. So you can find them there too.
awesome, and we'll put it in the description, everybody. So awesome stuff. So look, you birth a book idea, and then it turns into three. So you obviously had some good coaching and saw some opportunities. I actually, ironically, have signed up with your book publisher, so we're excited to join the family there in
Yeah.
that capacity. She's an incredible, dynamic woman. No wonder you guys connected, because you're both doing like 17 things at one time,
Yeah.
and handling it all correctly. So,
Yeah.
it's,
Jack and I are actually the exact same age too, which is interesting. She just
it's
had a birthday. So
Yes.
yeah.
That that's an interesting dynamic, right? So look, you mentioned bodybuilding. That's an interesting one. And I remember when I first saw a picture, right? Because we're all connected, like on Facebook and some social
Yeah.
media. I was like, whoa! I was like, man, that's an incredible like discipline in life,
Right.
right? Not just the aesthetic one, and like, wow, like that's impressive that you have sculpted your body and you can maintain that type of scenario, right? With
Mhm.
all the things that you do. But tell us about that discipline. I mean, I think it really kind of plays into the CEO mindset, right? Is you have to have routines and disciplines and a character that be able to build that into something so that you can achieve like being sixth in the world of what you do. So it's pretty
Yeah.
awesome. So can you go a little bit deeper on that?
Sure. So my bodybuilding journey started about 3 years ago. I kind of think of it in seasons because we kind of have seasons. There's a build season and then a stage season. So this coming up will be my third stage season. So I started it because I was kind of in a stuck place. I had made a decision to stop drinking 3 or 6 months before I started bodybuilding. And then, so that 6 months, I feel like my body just kind of went through like this detox mode. It was like, okay, like now what do we do? I got to reset here. And so then I found a nutritionist that also trained athletes to get on stage. And it's funny, originally I was just going to do the nutrition and training. And then I think I called her back a week later and I was like, just kidding. I'd like to do that. I'd like to, wear the sparkly bikini and get up there. So how do we train to do that instead? So I think it was just it gave me something to do, mentally. It gave me something, I always say like bad habits sometimes need to be replaced with good habits, right? So instead of, that lifestyle where we would go out to restaurants on the weekends and drink wine or whatever, like I needed something else to do. So I started going to the gym diligently. And so the process really actually surprisingly has helped immensely with my mind and with my business. And so now that's kind of the keynote that I go around and I give is just how athletes and the athlete mentality and that drive can actually help you in business. Because I had to get a whole lot more organized, right? Like when you're an entrepreneur, you have the flexibility in your schedule to kind of do whatever you want. With adding bodybuilding in, I had a lot less time and I had to really learn how to um, manage my time accordingly. And then also it just gave me the energy to do more in my business. So I would say, yeah, the consistency, the organization, the drive, all of that, and that mindset to, you had kind of a hard day, but guess what? You have to get up and you have to do it again the next day, over and over and over again, right? Like the nutrition's very specific, the training is extremely specific, and then it just doesn't stop. So, in bodybuilding, we there's two terms. Some people use off season or improvement season, but if you're serious about it, it doesn't really stop. It becomes improvement season, which just means you're still training, you're still on your nutrition. The nutrition changes, you go up in body weight, you don't stay that stage lean all year round. But I'm still training 6 days a week. I'm still sticking very closely to my meal plan. Um, and that's 365 days a year, 6 days a week. I have one off day, and that's it. So that kind of structure has really benefited me in ways that I couldn't have even imagined.
That's really interesting. So wait, and I don't want to skip on it. You get one
Yeah,
cheat day a year?
I have one rest day a week.
Oh, okay. All right. I was
Yeah,
like, man, a year.
not
That's
even a cheat day, it's a rest day. I'm still doing my nutrition. I'm not doing my lifting or
okay.
yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, that's a cool insight into your world. And wow, I mean, I didn't realize it was only 3 years or so. that you really dove into this, and kudos to you. I mean, to be able to have flown up the scales, right, of competition. Obviously, it shows that when you put your mind to something, you're willing to make it happen, right? So that's another
Yeah.
Go CEO trait of that. So look, I'm super excited that these new chat catch ups are happening with the people that I've interviewed over the last 3 years, because I think it's so cool to see, and I hope that the audience understands that it's neat to see people change and evolve, right? And part of it is that journey. So now let's switch into the Balanced Wellness Collection. I mean, obviously that was your baby. You created. We first interviewed on that. You told me over, before we came on the air here, that you got a new location. So what's going on with that, and what's that dynamic been as far as just you're handling all these things, but you built a real business and you have real employees and you have to really keep that thing going. How's that happen, and what are some things that you've learned throughout the process?
Sure. So I think the shift this year with Balance Wellness Collective is I hired a key employee that I trust very fully, to kind of take over most of the day-to-day operations. And then, my husband is in finance, so he still kind of monitors the financial aspect of it, but the day to day and the finance are handled so that I can really shift gears. And I did open an office in Algonquin, but that's just me. I'm not planning on hiring more therapists to work in that location. So basically, all I'm doing is working in my Algonquin location. I'm also doing, my book events. I'm doing speaking events. Like I said, I'm doing a lot of keynotes about this athlete mindset, and then Balance Wellness Collective is kind of running like a well-oiled machine. And I refer, when I get full in my private practice, I refer clients to Balance. So now it's kind of two separate entities, which is the Amy Wilhelmy brand, my own clients, speaking, coaching, etc., books, and then the Balance Wellness Collective brand. And then also personally, I'm still a divorce mediator as well. So I complete divorces in a mediation fashion. So for me, that process mentally was like, okay, what do I like to do and what am I not very good at? And like really over time, like figuring that out. And then figuring out like, what is the best ROI for me? Because the admin side of things or managing the therapists on a larger scale is better done by someone else, where I can kind of focus on seeing my own clients, completing mediation, doing speaking, book stuff, etc. So it was hard to fully hand over and like kind of separate those two entities out, but I do think that everyone's thriving more because of it.
Yeah, interesting, way to put it, right? I mean, to separate them two, but still be unified under the way that you do business, right? So, what I got out of that was just saying, hey, look, there's some areas of your business that I think a lot of small business owners, especially solopreneurs, never scale to a business owner mindset where they have employees, they have leadership that's underneath them, right? That check in with them and stuff, because I think they miss that part is they never really fully develop themselves to say, hey, okay, I don't have to control everything, and I can be in my zone of genius, right? And I can allow the business to grow organically. I love that you said too, you're in the type of business that when you fill your own cup, the cup that overflows goes to your guys and gals, right? That are on
Yeah,
your team. So
right.
that's a really cool thing. So.
And I think my husband was better at seeing that than I was. He was like, oh, well, here's how, I was like, yeah, I'm just going to see my own clients. He's like, okay, but when you get full, and now that's happening. And then I still supervise the clinical interns because I love that piece. And so I am, like I'll have a client who I'm working with individually and then they'll need couples therapy. Well, I can't do both. That's not ethical. So all right, then I'm going to refer the couple to one of my clinical interns or to the rest of the staff at at Balance Wellness, and it is working. And I like the word that you use, organic. It's much more of an organic um, mode there. So
Well, neat, neat. Yeah, scaling your business is so many different things. I've had three different industries. I've been able to be an entrepreneur and currently an entrepreneur inside of a bank, and it's interesting how you try to develop those things and hopefully bring some insight, right, and how you grow. So that's awesome. So look,
yeah.
anything else going on, Amy, that you want to share? Thank you so much for obviously stopping by. You're a busy lady, so I don't want to keep you too long. Is there anything else that you think high level that our audience can hear from you, that maybe is anything else that's changed or things that you see for the future? And obviously in the next 6 to 12 months we'd love to have you back again and keep on reconnecting with you.
Yeah, I mean, I guess just my current goals is that my first bodybuilding show is June 3rd. I'm actually doing the show in Wisconsin called the Shredded Cheddar, which is an amazing name for a bodybuilding show. So that's kind of the warm up, and then we'll go to nationals after that. So um, with my trainer, I put on about 10 pounds of muscle this year, so I'm excited to just see the difference there. And then, something that I always say, one of my favorite quotes, I guess, is the only ceiling that actually exists is the one that's in your head. So
Hmm.
just to keep that in mind, like again, I wrote the book partly because people are always like, how do you do all the things that you do? And I really believe that it is mindset oriented over anything. Like you can learn how to do pretty much anything. Before we came live here, you're like, yeah, I'm pretty self-taught. I'm interested in research and I teach myself a lot of things. People are able to do that. Like I didn't know what I was doing with lifting before I started doing that, and then I hired the trainers and the nutritionists to get me on track, and now I feel like I'm good at it, right? So um don't let whatever, physical, mental, whatever roadblocks you have keep you from believing that you can achieve whatever you want.
I love it. I love it. So, hey, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being a part of the Go for CEO channel, seeing Amy thrive in the things that she's doing and the multiple things and showing you how she does it. Check out her books. We'll put a description of the link, to the Amazon to buy the books. And obviously, we're going to see her. If you're part of the bodybuilding community, I'm sure you're starting to hear the chants of Amy's name right on stage. It's pretty awesome. So, really cool stuff. So thank you, Amy, again for stopping by the Go for CO channel.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.